finally got his latest project. Made it to funding. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It took a little longer than expected. It was a thrill,
Yeah.
a thrill ride. It definitely helped with the adrenaline and the anxiety and generalized panic. But other than that, I was fine with it. It was a nice little surge of backing the project, and then poof, before I even knew it, I was beyond it without even thinking about it, and I was very happy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you pushed yourself, right? Because the first time you did a Kickstarter, you never
This
know.
is the second time.
Yeah, I know. Let me get to the point. Right? The first time you did it, like it was a lower goal than this time.
Oh yeah, much lower.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So this time it's like I don't know if I'm gonna hit this. I think I can hit this, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Right. And that's the anxiety of it the second time around, right?
God, yeah. Oh, I was concerned. I mean, I think I probably would have gotten it, but I was concerned. I was a little bit concerned that I bit off a little bit more than I can chew. And it just happened so that it just hit a little bit later than it usually did. So I was very happy, yeah.
Yeah, no, you made it. You made it, you did it. And now you're here and you're like but I mean so I'm going to ask this because I know you're going to do a third project at some point down the road. Is this going to be is this the same number you're going to hit here? Are you going to try to go higher? Or are you going to keep it like right where it's at for now in terms of your goals?
I don't know. I think what I'll do is I'll keep it conservative at that point, and we'll just see how far it goes. I'll probably use a similar goal, or maybe even a little bit panic out of my way, so I can feel like I know what I'm doing. And it's the truth, because it's like it was funny because the day before the campaign started, I upped the final reward to 2,500 British pounds from 2,250. And I hit 2,250 about 5 days ago, but it did not move for a good 4 or 5 days. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. This is it. I'm going to lose it. I was like, I can't believe I did this. Like at the last second, I'm like thinking, it's like, I'm thinking of like Loki, and the TVA. And I'm just like, one little tiny thing can branch off in an entirely different universe. And in another universe right now, 5 days ago, I was celebrating. Today, I was celebrating now. So.
Yeah, but I mean, I think so. I've had this conversation with other Kickstarters, right? And that's the idea that you push yourself because you have to have that belief you can make it, right? And I think there's some truth to that too, because you might have hit it sooner, but there would have been a little bit of wondering. It's like, what if I could have gone bigger? This one, I don't think you're going to have that issue, that question at all, even if it does to the point where you actually could do a stretch goal or two. Right, you hit that point this time. This felt like the right sweet spot.
Yeah, it did. Well, now it's okay. Now I'm happy with it. This I think will be a good barometer, or maybe even a little bit less for the next one. Which I have to be honest, I'm not too sure when I'm going to release, because even though I've been moving along with production on issue 3 while finishing up issue 2, there's still a lot to do, and I pushed myself way too hard. For this one, I finished. But you were privy to it. What did I do? God, I finished 56 pages of line art. I'm on my 43rd page of coloring. I still have to get the lettering done. I'll do it, but I have all that to do while I was promoting the Kickstarter, while I was going live every day and drawing pages for issue 3. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. If I have to wait a little bit longer to release chapter 3, I think I have a new game plan when it comes to releasing chapter 3 and chapter 4. I just think that I'm now going to ease up a little bit, because I want to strategize these more, because chapter 3 and chapter 4 are really going to be important. They're really going to be good. Chapter 2 is the table setter. That's for sure. It's a table setter for what's going to come for chapter 3 and chapter 4, and then both are going to be nuts. And I want to make sure that I do it right. I mean, I did this one right, but there's a couple of things that I may even change as I go along with the colors, because I'm looking at a couple of things, and I'm working with you, Joshua Petroretto.
You are.
Yeah, I am. This man is going to not only be my proofreader, but he's also going to be my editor. He's going to make sure that there's a good stretch of continuity with everything. I think there will be, but I count on Joshua because he asks questions that I don't think of. And that's why I asked. That's why, I mean, when Joshua offered, I immediately jumped at it, because I know that he's objective about Josh is objective about everything. He makes sure that he does like the right call and the proper observation for everything that he sees, as far as I can tell. And that's the reason why I hired him. And I think it's a good choice, because I need an objective set of eyes to look at what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
Because no matter what I do, I can never. It's not so much that I can't be objective. It's just that I'm so tied into the project that I need someone just to look a little bit outside of it and tell me, maybe you could do something with this.
Yes.
Which I will do as soon as everything is done with the colors and me typing in all the letters and whatnot. We are going to go over this, and if we do great, which I think we will, I will continuously use Joshua as an editor proofreader, and I'll be very happy that he's on my team.
Yeah. Well, it's
provided he can, because he's getting busy himself, isn't he?
Well, it's interesting because so on my end of things, I was doing a day job to save up to reinvest money and complete some of my own projects, and so there's two things I've noticed about myself is I'm not sure I'm a good employee anymore. I'm just
yeah, me neither.
Yeah,
I'm a terrible employee.
Well, it just came to, like, I can do a job, like I can do jobs for people, like that's not the issue. It's just I like doing it kind of my own way, and and I was working at a factory overnight, and I think what rattled them is I just didn't. I will talk to my bosses if I think they're wrong. I'm not going to panic if things go wrong on my end, because my last day there, they put me in this position I had never been in at all. So they were putting me in these new stations every night, and they were half-assedly training me. But I looked at it honestly, and I said to myself, okay, I'm not going to worry about it, because here's the deal. If I'm supposed to suck, I'm not supposed to be good at these jobs. If I was so good, they would have trained me in these jobs for at least some time, so I would get to it until I was comfortable doing it, right? They didn't do that. So that just told me they didn't care. So if they're not caring, why should I? It's kind of hard to yell at somebody. It's kind of hard to yell at somebody when that's the logic they present to you.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree wholeheartely.
Right.
I agree definitely wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So they let me go, and then I went to do another job, and then I got laid off. And then I started freelancing. Oh, it's all good. There's a chip shortage, so a lot of people right now aren't working in the city. So it's like it is what it is. So it's like, okay, well, I'll get some freelancing gigs while this goes up. So I got a magazine article coming out next week. I did something for Writers Weekly. I'm doing a podcast job for somebody. I'm doing the job for you. I got a couple other things that are coming up, and this was just all this, like, the job with you was earlier than this, but I mean everything else was this week, and it was just like I made a living wage this week as a freelancer, and I was just so. I got, like I said, I got another gig next week too. I got another writing gig next week. I'm still looking for. I'm gonna try to like white fight it. I'm a freelancer. That's what I am, and so I just put a blog post up last night on my blog called The Dream. I literally say it's 3 things I'm offering. I'm just going to say it before we start drawing is writing articles, podcast services, and if you're a comic book person, or even a novel person, I will do some editing there, although my editing of novels is not as skilled as some others. Proofreading, editing for comics and prose, because why not? Like, why not? Yeah, and
definitely why not.
Yeah, so like, and I get the feeling like with the fact that I know I'm so connected to the comic community, I'll get some people interested in me just working with and helping them out. So
Well, the more you do and the more you put yourself out there, the more you will get one way or the other. And
exactly,
word of mouth does help.
yes, exactly.
So, and I mean, we'll see. I wish you the best of luck. Of course, if there's anything I can
Oh yeah,
possibly assist you with, if I even can, even if I have the capability of doing so, I'd be more than happy to help you.
yeah,
So, I'm going to turn my camera around,
yeah.
and right now, what I'm going to be doing. Well, can you tell everybody what we're doing right now?
We're doing a drink and draw. So I'm drawing pirates. I'm going to be looking at probably a Magic the Gathering card, and I'm going to be doing my very best to do it. It's probably going to be terrible because my I'll show you what I did yesterday. My first attempt at a Magic card ended up with zombie pirate by accident there. Right?
Oh my God, zombie pirates are okay. Zombie pirates are okay as long as they're hot and they got big.
This one, but I actually enjoy doing this one.
That one's good. That one. What is that? What is that again?
That is a goddess carrying a ship across the sea.
Oh, good gravy. Okay. Oh my God! You definitely don't go for those small ones. It's like, no, I'm not gonna do any. I'm not gonna do any type of still life. I'm not gonna draw apples or pears or bananas
do it.
or a flower. I'm gonna draw a goddess carrying a ship.
Yes.
Wow. That's up there. You're ambitious. You're ambitious. I give you credit.
I can't help myself. I just can't help.
I don't blame you. Yeah. I will be inking one of the pages that was offered as a Kickstarter reward for my fully funded Kickstarter for my 4-chapter graphic novel, The Incantesi. And I mean, we're going to go beyond 4. We're going to go way beyond 4. I mean, I want to do this for good. But I'm finishing up chapter 4. And what I did was I penciled a bunch of pages, far more pages than I did before for the first issue, because I did most of the first issue digitally. This one I did about a little bit more than a third traditionally, and the rest digital, because a lot of them is just like story building and it's just conversations and stuff. But some of these other pages over here, I decided to draw them outright, and I decided to put them up as rewards, and they were gone like within like 2 hours. Like 5 of them were already picked up, and there's 3 remaining, and one of them's a big old double page spread. And I hope someone gets that one, because that one's actually going to go for chapter 3. But yeah, and when I penciled the pages, I don't have a scanner right. So what I did was I took my camera on my phone, and I took a picture of it, and then I took a square picture as I could, and I imported it into Photoshop on my computer. No, not Photoshop, a sketchbook, and then I inked it there digitally. But since someone picked this up, I now have to ink this traditionally. So I'm essentially inking these pages twice. But well, I'll tell you what, I'm fast enough as an inker that I can do this. And quite honestly, I don't mind the digital inking because it's far less messy, and it's actually a little bit quicker because I'm already used to that type of application of the inking itself, digital wise. But it's very easy for me to slip back to the traditional. So, without further ado, let me turn this camera around, and I'm gonna show you the page that I'm halfway done with, and cool. We're gonna go from there. All right?
That works for me.
Yes, sir. Let me just do this. Turn my ugly mug around, so I don't scare the children anymore. All right. There we go.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I know, right? Tell me about it. All right, there it is. Now I just gotta adjust this a little bit. This is my yumminess right there.
Yes.
Okay, yep. There we go. A little bit more ambient light, and we're good. Okay. So right now, this over here is supposed to be page 16, but I mean, I did this a couple of months ago, to be honest with you. And as the story progressed, there were a couple of other pages that I wanted to include in it. So it's not technically page 16. It's more like page 22 or 24 or something along those lines. But this is a rather pivotal scene because it involves the 3 young ladies who were conspiring against our main hero and for the raft to kill her. One of them had a change of heart, and she's the one that's being kissed right now. This is the one that had the change of heart. But whenever this one kisses anybody or
Yeah.
exchange any type of bodily fluid, she takes complete control over them. She possesses them and forces that person to do her bidding. And she did that in the first episode, the first chapter, with the police officer when he became, the physical demonic embodiment of the Wrath who tried to kill Cassandra, which did not work, if anybody has that issue.
Yeah.
So right now she's doing this over here, and I'm not going to give away what's in the story, but something happens towards the end of it, which thankfully is going to be unexpected in one way or another. And I have plans for the character that are going to be completely unexpected that you would probably not think of when you are creating a comic book about an antagonist. I mean, a protagonist who's supposed to like help save everybody. So we're going to see what happens with that one. It's going to be a little bit different than what most people do. Go ahead.
Well, it's always cool to sometimes characters surprise you, right? Right.
Well,
and I feel like maybe in this case, maybe that both these characters maybe they evolved a little bit more as time went on.
Well, every character here evolves one way or the other. There's a couple that just remain static, but they do change their thoughts on a bunch of things here and there. And one of the characters one of the characters in this book is very steadfast and is a refusal to die type of character. He's the doctor that initially helps Cassandra when she arrives in the hospital after what happened at the theater when the chandelier crashed upon her. He's not. You see, one thing that I've noticed a lot, and I've gotten a little bit upset about. Well, I mean, not so much upset. Just like I'm looking at it, I'm just like, why does this have to happen for the longest time? I mean, for quite some time now, most male characters have been looked at as buffoonish or stupid or kind of helpless.
Oh yeah.
And well, I'm glad, and instead of that, the female character is usually the strong and smart one, which is great because that's actually the truth. But not every single male that you'll ever see in any type of story is some wimpish buffoon. I mean, he's not like Jerry from Rick and Morty or Homer from The Simpsons or anything like that. This doctor here, the one that helped save Cassandra, is an ex-ranger trained in the United States, and his family has actually tried to dabble in the occult a little bit. So all this stuff, even though it's really weird, is not exactly something that would scare him. And this guy is not so much just an alpha male, but he's also a person that holds life as a gift over everything else. And he saw that this young girl, our hero Cassandra, being threatened by this monster, he would rather die than let anything happen to her, because not only was he a soldier, he's also a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So even though at times he may be called to take a life, which is an unfortunate thing that he may have to do in the heat of combat, his main mission is to preserve life and to save it if necessary. And if these things are trying to hurt her for no other reason than to assuage whatever means they have, he will defend this girl to the day he dies. Because that's just who this man is. That's just who he is. He's really, if you really want to put it that way, the archetype of a hero, of a true hero. And he's just an all-around good man. And I would rather have that. I'd rather have a strong male character interacting with a strong female character, which is Cassandra's aunt, Emilia, who is a strong female character. But I'd rather have them both be strong, and instead of one of them be some simpering wimp.
Yep.
I can't stand that. I mean, it's because that's not always the case. I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of them like that, but when it's at a point where everybody looks buffoonish, it's not something that I truly enjoy.
It's not. So it's like, honestly, I blame Homer Simpson, and I really do.
Well, I do too. It's not a question of that. It's not a question of the characters themselves. I mean, maybe Homer's not a perfect analogy because he's made to be that way, but you see, it's like there's a lot. I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry. You were going to say something, Josh?
Yeah. What I was going to say is, I like what you're talking about makes a lot of sense, honestly, right?
Yeah.
Right. You're talking about makes a lot of sense. But what needs to be stated in this, is like one of the reasons. So I hate like you hate when you see it. Like for you, what bothers you about that is you hate the fact that this is an ex. You've seen this trope play out pretty much your whole life, right?
No, no, not at all. No, I mean when it comes, no, not at all. What I'm saying is that lately in storytelling or any other type of scenario that we see as entertainment, and it's been going on for quite some time, at least more than 10 years, is the fact that now the father or the male, the top male character within any type of story is is either buffoonish, stupid, or completely inept in every single way, or some sort of mealy mouthed coward, or absolutely evil.
Yeah.
Now, I can understand the response to that because a lot of that for the longest time, and still in some instances, a female character, while supposedly perceptively powerful and strong, and someone who can take care of their business, is often a lot of times reduced by other male characters, either by infantilizing them or sexualizing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been around for the longest time. And it's definitely, absolutely not fair to women actors who always have to be sexualized. I saw this documentary special not too long ago with some actors, some wonderful female actors. And I hate saying it like that, like female actors, like I'm trying to generalize them.
Mm-hmm.
But in just about every single scenario, at one point or another, they have to take their shirt off, and it's like, hey, look at my boobs, because that's the only thing appealing about me. Now, I hate that type of objectivity. I do, because it's like, if you're going to have nudity, there has to be a pretty solid reason for it. Because if it's only there for shock value, it's kind of useless because it's superfluous. It's like, okay, wow, tits, yay. Okay, what are they there for? It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's something that needs to be there. I mean, you know this just as well as I do. I mean, you as a writer would never put in anything just for the sake of putting something in. Just to be like, oh, look, I'm gonna be edgy and confrontational by putting this in. And you're a much more substantive writer than than most others. And I mean, that's how I feel about you.
So I'm gonna say, like I said, I've seen this trope, like all these tropes you're talking about.
Yeah.
They've been on my television since I've been alive, in some form of fashion, right? So I look at, say, like I said, Homer Simpson's been around since 1991. I mean, think about how long that's been. We're both old.
I think wasn't it 89 on the Tracy Ullman show, or was it right around?
No, yeah. Oh, yeah, but Homer didn't become who he was until they made the decision to shift the focus away from Bart to Homer.
Oh,
right?
okay, all right.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
That was about 91. Could be wrong on that. I'm sure somebody knows better than me, but I'm just going to say 91 for the. So,
all right.
Homer, as we know him, has been around since that long. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. It's like, and so there's like that character archetype. So it's been around forever. And then you have, okay, and women, yeah, absolutely. Like you look at so one of the shows I absolutely hated was The Big Bang Theory. Hated it. Yeah. One of the reasons I hate that show is because it has, all they did was they took all these tropes that I've seen forever on television and they cloaked them in what was supposed to be a smart show.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It was a very male-oriented show.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Forget about the type of male that was on that show. It was definitely a male-oriented show because, with the exception of one of the women who was made to look plain. What was it? Mia Bialik, who's actually kind of hot.
Mia was. Yeah, I remember her from my Blossom days. I had a bit of a crush on her.
Yeah, when I'd seen her on The Big Bang Theory and everything, and then seeing her on the Rick, I'm like, oh yeah, I banged this genius.
Yeah.
So it's like, and she's supposed to be the one that's made to be the super plain Jane because she's smart.
Yeah.
And then you have Penny, who is rather pleasing to the eye, but if you really look at it, she's not like uber brilliant like these guys are. Well, and it's shown at times. Go ahead.
Penny's the biggest indictment on the show. You want to know why?
How so?
How many years before Penny actually had a last name?
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest indictments on that whole show, actually, because
Wow.
it's not even just Maya Blaylock's character. I can't remember her name, and this again is not indictment. I didn't watch the show that closely, but I can't remember her name. The gal that played the other pretty one, the other smart one. I can't remember her name, but super smart character, made to look plain. She was probably the hottest girl there, even right in my opinion.
Yeah, she
Right,
was.
right, and it was like so between that, between between looking at the show, it's like I hate that show, but that show is an indictment because it did all the tropes I grew up with, made them very, very clever, right? And then tried to make them cute and claim that it was a smart show. It wasn't really that smart show.
No,
It
it
was
wasn't
just
really.
yeah, right. That's why I hate it. It could have been a smart show. That's the thing that really pissed me off. It was almost there,
Yeah.
except it wasn't. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I look at it and I kind of go like, so. But this is what we've done as a this is what we've done in particular as a television is they've been very slow to move beyond conventional casual, like the conventional tropes that we've been accustomed to for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
So, as somebody, that's why I don't watch too much television anymore because, so my favorite like female lead all time is either Major Kira from DS9.
I love her.
Yeah,
Love
badass,
her.
total,
Yeah,
great
total
actress.
badass. Absolutely, and she's gorgeous.
Absolutely.
I mean that's not even that's not the and that's obviously not the best part of her. She's poised. She's almost regal in a lot of ways,
Oh,
truly, but so powerful as a character and as an actress. She's truly amazing. Nana Visitor. Oh, she's wonderful.
Yeah,
She's
no,
absolutely wonderful. God bless her.
one of my favorite female protagonists all time because she made Major Kira offered no excuses.
That's right.
Total like badass the whole way through.
Oh yeah.
And so you have that, and then you look at that, like that's a smart, capable woman with an incredible history as a character, incredible problem solver. They put her in so many different interesting situations throughout the show's history.
Yeah.
Right? They had some fun with her too, right? Which is good.
Yeah.
So you have her. Sigourney Ripley, Sigourney Weaver's character in Aliens, the first two movies especially.
Oh God, absolutely.
Holy shit, right? Great character.
Yes.
But here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And finally, here's my other one, Commander Susan Ivanova from Babylon 5.
Okay, forgive me. I believe. Don't take my nerd card away. I have never seen an episode of Babylon 5.
That's fair. Never. I won't hold it against you. I won't.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Don't hold it against me, please.
I won't hold it against you. Here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Right. Fun character, little whimsical, silly, has sweet, like she's a bit like badass, but like a bit of a sweetheart. Good sense of humor about everything. Right. And I know Claudia Christian is a great actress and did a really wonderful job with that character.
Yes, I do like Claudia Christian as an actress. She's very good.
Yeah. So there's her. And the only other female lead that I can really think of that really didn't have to show, she did show skin, don't get me wrong, but she didn't have to. So in every movie she was. I love Mila Jovovich, but I mean, but again, but we're talking about these amazingly well-trained women that were actually given a chance to actually do different things in the roles they were given, right?
That's right.
Right. So that's a rarity in Hollywood.
It is.
So it reflects also in comics. This is also why like George Perez has the definitive Wonder Woman run. That definitive Wonder Woman one was 30 years ago, right? So it's kind of one of those situations where I kind of look at it and go, you know, we still got a long way to go with women. But here's the thing. Instead of making more women and men equally capable, looking at, you can have I think the only show that came really close to that was X-Files, Mulder and Scully.
Yeah.
Only one other show actually comes close to that. It's close. It's not quite, but it's close. Two very capable protagonists, very strong in their own lights, different looks. Great actor, great actress doing cool roles here, and that was fun and that was fine. But again, these are exceptions, not the norms, right? This should be the norm, right? And it's not. And you have to look very hard to find those norms, and that's sad. Now, what they've been doing is they've dumbed down a lot of the guys on TV. Like I remember, like when back in my day, and or some bullshit like that, right? I loved Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You compare him to, say, Homer Simpson or Al Bundy, or like you go down the line, right? By and large, we got like again, the male protagonists have become dumber, and so instead of making women better, they've made men worse. So it's like now everybody looks bad. Instead of just making having two very strong, capable characters. That's way more interesting. You can still have fun with expectations. You can have a sex bot character if you want, right? But make her more than that. Make her interesting, right? Yeah. Make her have a story, a backstory, a history. Why does she do the things she does? The only you have to take what's presented, and you have to kind of flip expectations a little bit, right? And that takes work, and especially in a medium like television, work isn't always what they want to do. Sometimes they just want to put content out there and get lazy. So
no, I agree that. I mean, it's that they've lowered the respect level and the necessity for the female character to the point where he does look buffoonish and he does look stupid. And and what they do is they take the female character and they make her. It's what it seems like to me, and it's something that I've seen a little bit also, that it's almost like they're trying to that like the showrunners of a lot of these shows lately are almost trying to make it seem like, look how amazingly woke we are, or how amazingly aware we are of the plight of how women are treated in Hollywood, and let's completely do this with this thing. And that's I mean, when you write or when you create a show that's strictly to cater or to a certain type of cause or whatnot, I think it does become a little bit offensive to the audience, because I mean, for me, I look at it and I'm like, well, I can easily decide for myself who deserves what kind of praise or not, you know? And I have no issue. Again, it's like I'm trying to make it sound like I'm answering for something or trying to make an excuse for myself. I've been surrounded in the movies, by going to some of these movies, with incredibly powerful female characters, like you mentioned before, with Ripley, Sarah Connor. Oh my God!
Oh, Sarah Connor's but is the other badass example.
She's it, absolutely. And it's like we saw her, and what was great about her character, is that that even when she went full Terminator mode, after she realized what she had become, like in the second Terminator movie when she went after Miles Dyson. Spoilers.
Well, that's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
That's one of the greatest scenes in the whole movie. Exactly, because it's like she becomes this thing, and she becomes a Terminator, and then she realizes at the last possible minute that she's a human being, and she's a mother, and she's a woman, and it's like she leans back and cries, not because that's what a woman does, but that's what Sarah would do, because she became the one thing that she hated the most. And that's what you call great development. It's just like she brings herself back, and better yet, her son brings her back.
Yeah.
She's still a badass, but her son brings her back. Further exemplifying and further entrenching the fact that it's like, yeah, she's a woman who kicks ass, but she's also a mother. who loves her son and whose son loves her. And
Mhm.
it just really hammers it down, that it really brings the femininity of this wonderful actress who played her. I mean, Linda Hamilton, when she played her, was just absolutely perfect. The same thing with Sigourney Weaver in Aliens, when she's protecting Newt, when she's like on the verge of tears when she thinks that Newt's dead, and then when she's not dead, she just goes into high gear again, and she's doing everything she can to make sure that the child is surviving. And in the midst of all the ass kicking and all the shooting of all the flamethrowers and the grenade launchers and stuff like that, when everything looks like it's about to be bleak, she just goes, "Close your eyes, baby," and she's still on that nurturing thing. That is what you call an incredibly powerfully strong female character, and I love that type of female character. And there are male characters who do the same thing, but when you do something for the sake of trying to hit a certain type of audience, or like trying to make yourself aware, or make yourself appear like you're aware of the injustices that have been happening all over the place, which of course they are, which of course they have. But when you do it, and you do it for the simple fact of just doing it to make yourself look like you're there, it's cloying, and it's kind of predictable, and it's insulting ultimately. It is,
Well,
because it's like the overwhelming majority. Forgive me. The like 99.9% of us males, we don't want to have a weak female character. We prefer women who are not vacuous, who are brilliant as well as beautiful. Just like a woman wants us to be brilliant as well as handsome and rugged and strong, as well as sensitive and caring and endearing. I mean, we all have to have all those traits.
mhm.
But lately, a lot of characters are very one-dimensional. I mean, just like you said before, it's like we didn't know Penny's last name for the longest time, thereby reducing her thereby, up until they decided to give her a last name, they reduced her to a prop.
That's right. She's a prop. That's the
Yeah,
thing,
she's a
right?
prop.
Yeah.
And that to me sucks. That to me is disgusting. I'm like, because she's
Mhm.
a damn good actress also.
Yes.
Katie Cuoco. I mean, she's really good, and she's funny. And it's like that's all she became.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's all she was
why?
for the majority of the series. That's who she was. That's it,
Ugh,
right?
that's just so funny.
Yeah. Then it's terrifying. So it's why I use as an aside, I gave one of my former friends shit as when she finished her novel because her villain didn't have a name. It's like your villain's a prop. Your villain's just a prop, right?
The
Right?
villain's just a cop. Ugh.
Yeah, just a prop. You just
Oh my god.
well, it's like I didn't even know the villain's name. Why should I care what happens to the villain? Really? Like honestly, right?
Oh god.
That's okay. It's okay.
Oh, I love that. I have to admit, sometimes that there are people who write stuff for the sake of like getting back at someone. I think it's almost like they're trying to what the hell are they trying to do? It's almost like they're trying to fulfill their own like power wish or something along those
For
lines.
sure.
Like a power agenda or something. I mean, there's a bunch of comics that I've seen that
Mm-hmm.
that to me it's just like a lot of them are just like there's some comics that I've seen that are out there that are like ego trips, and I'm just
Sure.
like, yeah, I get a little disappointed with that, because it's like, well, if this is, I mean, you look at some of the way that these stories are developed, and it's almost like the person who's doing the writing is like, this is what I wanted to do when I was younger, but I didn't have the balls to do it, so here I am now as a
Yeah, I've
comic
seen
book
that.
writer. Yeah, now I'm a comic book writer, and I'm going to do the thing that I wish that I did, because that person, I mean, you can see it in the way that they speak, or hear it in the way that they speak, where it's like, yeah, I wanted to do this to this bully, and I want to make sure that this bully pays for it. So I'm going to create a character that's going to be more powerful than Superman. He's going to kick all the bullies' asses. And I'm like, well, what'd you do? Lose a bunch of fights when you were a kid? I mean, it's like, I lost a few fights and I won more. I won more than I lost, but I still lost a few fights. It didn't make me like want to have vengeance upon someone. I mean, anything that the character that I have is not even remotely related to anything that happened to me in my past life at all. And that's what I love about my character. That's the reason why I chose the Incantesi as a character, because she was completely opposite of anything that I had before. Because when I decided I was going to go into the self-publishing thing, I was thinking about using one of my characters, and I realized that it's like, Jesus Christ, my character is like so much me that people are going to see it immediately, and I'm going to be branded a narcissist. So I'm like, the hell with this crap, you know. So I showed that character immediately, you know, and I was like, forget this. And when I drew the character that was based off of Sophia, which was a commission, by the way, it wasn't really meant to be anything else. And look what it is now, you know. So it's like, holy crap. But the point being is that for me, if I was going to write any type of character, I have to write a character that has nothing to do with me or any of my experiences. You see, because to me, it means that I have to research the character more, that I have to be more intimate with the character, not like fucking it, you know, but, you know, just like I have to be more intimate with the character, him or herself, so I can really get into the mind of why is this person this way? Like, what would lead this person to do this? Or what would lead this person to do that? You know, that's the type of storytelling that I like doing with characters that I have absolutely nothing in common with. Nothing.
Do you want to see what I did?
Yes. Let me see what you did. Oh, nice. Nicely done so far. Yay.
I'm getting better.
Good for you, man.
I'm getting better.
Huh?
I'm getting better, I think. So.
You got to keep going. You have to keep going. That's all there is to it, Josh. I mean, it's not gonna take a day or two. It's gonna be a little bit longer than that.
And here's
trust
evil,
me, I know.
Here's Evil Empire. What do you think of Evil Empire?
I like Evil Empire. What is that?
It's a monkey. It's based on a monkey.
Oh my God, a monkey. Okay. Keep going. Just keep going. No, truly, just keep going. And I'm not saying it to be a dick either. No. Really, just keep going and just do it, because you should have seen me when I first started doing this stuff. Oh, man. When I got into Marvel, before I got into Marvel, I thought my penciling and my art was the shit. And it looked like I was one of the better artists in my community college, you know, which means absolutely positively nothing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, here I am. I bring a portfolio into Marvel, and I was nearly laughed out of the office. They're like, "Oh my God, it'll take me a week to tell you how many things you effed up with." And I'm like, I'm ready to cry. And then they go, "Well, what do you think about inking?" And I'm like, I'd actually like to try that. And that's how I got into Marvel, by doing all the inking and stuff.
Yeah.
But as time went on, you know, and as I practiced more, I got better at penciling, and now I am where I am now.
Oh yeah.
Which is pretty damn good. So, haha.
Yeah, no, I got you. I got you. Like, I just look at this, like, I've been doing this for 8 months, and I just look at it like, you know, I've come a long way in 8 months.
You are. What you're doing is, what I've seen you do is you become cleaner in your style, and you're becoming more confident in putting your lines down, because the last time you drew something, it took you the entire show that you and I had to draw one thing. Now you're on 2. And the drawings look a lot cleaner. So you are getting there. And what's going to happen is that you're going to see a metamorphosis within your art style that you haven't even realized that you even have yet. And as you continuously go along and do this more and more and more, you'll become more comfortable with everything that you do.
Absolutely. Like this, but like I said, I know like the next steps for me are anatomy and color, because that's what I need to do. But I was like, I'm going to do pirates this weekend. This year, my second of 3 drinking draws. I'm like, let's do different pirate stuff, and let's go crazy ambitious and kind of see what I come up with. I like streaking. I like the streaking pirate, kind of like the one that's kind of moving almost. Yeah. Right. I like that one better. But monkey pirate is actually kind of fun. And Doris, like Sarah Connor was she was awesome because she was also experiencing PTSD. I mean, in her particular case, she knew the end was coming. There wasn't a damn thing she could do about it, and it ate at her, and ate at her, and ate at her, and ate at her until finally she snapped. Right? And her being in an institution made total sense, because, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to tell everybody that these killer robots are going to come out and wipe everything out? No one will believe that now.
She tried, and they just thought of her as insane. That's why they put her in there.
Yeah.
And then it was funny, because when it was finally proven in front of that doctor who's been up her ass all this time, he's like, holy shit, these are real.
Yeah. Well, no, real. When you watch T-1000, like literally like go through a door, you're like, oh,
well, that was
how was that, right?
Yeah.
right?
I was like, how the hell did they do that in movies? I was like, whoa.
Like Robert Patrick was a great villain, and like I said, Schwarzenegger, like Terminator 2 is one of the probably it's one like science fiction had some great movies in the 80s, 90s.
Oh yeah.
And that one was between that and Aliens, they're like the pinnacle. Ironically enough, going back to character, two of the strongest female antagonists, like protagonists in the entire science fiction was from that era. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
And you see what was great about those those older films, quote unquote, which to me are not older, they're just timeless. Is that they relied on special effects to an extent,
sure,
but they didn't have the technology like they do now, and they had to rely on practical effects and different types of shots and different types of staging for how the heroic character is supposed to be placed. And to me, that makes a movie. Like what's one of the movies that I love? Predator.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Predator, it goes with the trope of like the unseen evil or the unseen enemy that's killing everything around. That really brought out the horror of what that movie really was supposed. I mean, that movie was a sci-fi movie, but it doubled as a sci-fi, an action movie, and a horror movie at the same time. And the horror was not knowing what the hell your enemy looked like, or what was killing everybody around you looked like. And the people that were being killed were some hard-ass core Green Beret Marines. And it's like these guys were killers. But there was this thing that was just picking them off, and they couldn't do a thing about it. And imagine that fear when it's like you think you're this incredible total badass that you cannot be stopped by any normal man, and then all of a sudden this thing is just is stealing the corpse of your best friend right under your face, and it chooses not to kill you because you're not armed at that moment. It's a really harrowing feeling.
Well, I think what makes the Predator movies, what I love is it also stomps like the 80s looking back, like I kind of regret the action movies of the 80s because they all fit a certain formula, right?
Yeah.
But what I love about this movie is this movie takes a giant crap on it. It just takes a giant, because it starts off that way, right?
Yeah.
But then the movie really begins when the Predator starts wiping out the Marines.
Yeah, right? It does. I love it.
And then it's like, oh, this isn't really an action movie. This. Oh my gosh, this is.
Yeah, it's more than that. It's much more than that.
Yeah, but
what's great about it? Go ahead, you first. I'm sorry, Josh.
Yeah.
Please continue.
It's just one of those situations where you look back at it and kind of go, huh, this was a really smart movie, right? It's like for its time, very, very smart movie.
I thought so. Yeah.
Right, and the language of storytelling, right, which is something I was introduced with from a friend of mine in Ireland when we were talking about doing movies and stuff together. We were considering doing a movie. He would show me like everything is about building up expectations and paying them off, right? The only real question is, do you feed into the expectations, or do you go against them? Now, if you go against them, what are you doing that makes it still so enticing that people want to come back for more, right? Because you don't want to do what M. Night Shyamalan does in some of his movies. Like, yeah, you don't see those endings coming. That's because some of them make absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, I want something that makes, like, from a story perspective, that actually works. I like surprises that actually, make a story worthwhile. Anyway.
No, I agree. I'm somewhat disappointed in M. Night Shyamalan for a bunch of things. I mean, it's like the last movie that I saw him do, Split. I mean, the main hero, David Dunn, drowns in a puddle. I'm like, really? I can't watch anything that M. Night Shyamalan does anymore because just what you said, it's like he's trying to subvert expectations, but he does it in such a crappy way.
Yeah.
That I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, it's not a cool decision what you just did.
No.
And it doesn't, and that's the thing. I think he's trying. I mean, I don't know what's thinking in that guy's. I don't know what's in his mind when it comes to how he crafts a story. And to be blunt and honest, I shouldn't really, tell him how much he sucks because he's still directing movies despite the fact that a lot of his movies do suck. But it's just a simple fact that it's like he's doing it for the sake. It's like I said before about like making one character excruciatingly powerful and all the male characters like simpering pieces of crap. You're doing it for the sake of doing it. You know,
Mhm.
you're not doing it because it calls for the story. You're doing it just because it'll make you seem more woke or more on the side of women, or like you're the nice guy or something. Like the writer is like pretending to be the nice guy. You know, I'm going to do all this for you and make sure that all of you watch everything that I do. And it's like it doesn't work because a lot, like I said before, a lot of that is just cloying and it's stupid. And
Yeah.
it insults the intelligence of the audience that's watching it. I mean, everyone loved Ripley, but I also loved Hicks when he was
Yeah.
fighting alongside her, and
Trying to
he's
save
like
her.
backing her up with everything that she's doing. But he's also a kick-ass, soldier. He knows how to fight, and he's like killing aliens like by the dozens, and he's supporting Ripley. And it's just like the two of them like almost have like a flirting attraction type thing going back and forth.
Yeah.
He sees her as not some carry on piece of luggage. He sees her as an equal, and that's what's getting a lot of us. We don't, and this is where it's just like, forms of entertainment are showing us that we're not equal, or trying to tell us that we're not equal as genders, but that's completely and absolutely untrue. But it continuously does that.
Mm-hmm.
It continuously does that. And before, when it had the chauvinism of like the Bond movies, like James, I mean, Sean Connery sitting on one of those lounge chairs by the pool, smacking a girl in the ass, get me a cigarette, baby. And that's it. And it's like she goes and gets a cigarette. It's like, well, that kind of sucks. But I mean, I don't mind doing that, but not all the time. But and then all of a sudden, it's just like the guy is the most afraid human being on the planet, while the female warrior is like, has a bigger dick than he does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like Hollywood is continuously, all forms of entertainment, unless they're really good, really nicely written shows, are showing us that, now men are kind of useless at this point, and women are either too brutish, too brutal, or too much of this or too much of that. It's like there's no extreme, there's no middle ground of anything, and the female characters don't respect the male characters, and the male characters are the ones who are taking it like, okay, we don't deserve to be respected by you, and
Yeah.
it's like, no, until we decide that the only really good form of entertainment that we're watching is the one where everything respects the audience, where all the shows respect the audience and shows that this is how most people usually are. You're going to continuously see all types of people railing against shows like that because it's just dishonest. And after a while, it's just so damn stupid because, I'm like, yeah, that's great. She's all powerful and stuff, but big fat hairy deal. We know what's going to happen at the end. And it's just, no, I don't like it. And that's the reason why I made the male doctor character in my graphic novel someone who is not only brilliant and also an empathic individual, but also someone who knows how to fight and does not take any shit and will lay down his life for his patients or any civilian that is being attacked by an enemy force.
Exactly.
That's what I want. That's what I wanted with him. And I'm trying to determine, I'll be honest with you, I'm trying to determine whether he's going to stay in the series or he's going to have an excruciatingly noble death. Like he will sacrifice himself for that person. I'm wondering if I should really. I'm trying to figure out if I should do that or just keep him around for a bit. I just might do that.
Well, it comes down to this then.
What
serves the story best?
I don't know. Well, right now there's a bunch of characters that are there's going to be characters in the second chapter that are going to be introduced, and I think a couple that are going to die, that are going to be gone. So because I'm trying to move the story along, but it serves the purpose of the story. One of the characters dying because it shows one of the other characters how malevolent that person is and how truly evil that other person is. I mean, I think I showed you some of the art, so you probably know. But when chapter 2 is out there, you'll see.
Okay.
You'll see.
All right.
How much more time we got? Are we almost done?
Well, we can wrap up. We can wrap up pretty much whenever at this point. I mean, we've gone. Let's see how long we've gone here. Oh yeah, we've gone pretty close to an hour here. So
Yeah,
I tried
would that be okay? Because it's like I actually want to relax a little bit because you're gonna love this one. I have to go live a little. I have to go live later at 9. I'd like to make myself something to eat because I haven't eaten anything all day, and then I have another podcast at 1 o'clock in the morning, so I'm gonna need to rest up.
No problem. Let's go back and let's just come back. Let's just go full circle here and kind of just move to you, and then we'll just do a quick plug of everything going on because you have your Kickstarter still happening.
Thank you. Yes, the Kickstarter I have, which was fully funded as of last night around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, Greenwich Mean Time, is of chapter 2. Yes. Chapter 2, the Incantesi, my graphic novel that I write, draw, color, letter, print, promote, and all that other lovely jazz. And we reached our goal last night. And what I'm working on right now is one of the original art pages from chapter 2. This was offered as a Kickstarter reward, and now that the funding has been fully realized, I am finishing inking it for the person who decided to back this particular reward. Now, my Kickstarter is still active. Mm-hmm. All you have to do for anybody who wants to just take a look at it, all you have to do is go to the search magnifying glass thingy on the top of the Kickstarter icon, whatever it might be, and just type in the Incantesi chapter 2, and it'll just show up there. It'll lead you to the campaign. It'll show you what I have, and if you decide you want to click on the rewards that are there, there's plenty of rewards that are there. And in case anybody here is a fan of original art, which I definitely am, I still have 3 pages left that I am prepared to offer for the Chapter 2 campaign. And now the campaign is going to end in 1 week's time. I mean, it says 8 days, but it's really about 7 days and about maybe 5 hours or something along those lines. So essentially, by the end of Saturday next week, this campaign will be finished. But thankfully, it is fully funded, and I am offering stretch goals, and one of them is a print of one of the pages, which I have posted already on my Kickstarter. And the next one is going to be something that I did over the last 5 days. And Josh, I don't know if Joshua saw the chibi drawings.
I saw you doing chibi stuff. Yes,
those were so much fun. Right now, the goal I had was 2,500 British pounds. We reached that, and now we're up to 2,673. The next stretch goal that I have is going to be 3,000 British pounds, or 3,000 quid. Now, once we reach 3,000 quid, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each and one of those chibi drawings that I did, I'm going to color them, and I'm going to create sticker booklets out of them, in which every single backer gets one of those. Now, also, once we reach the 3,000, 5 lucky random recipients, 5 of them, are going to receive one piece of the original art that I did the drawings live with in their bundle. I'm going to pick 5 random people, and they're going to get a surprise, a little bit extra in their packages once fulfillment is done.
Very cool. Cool. And for those of you watching, I put the link in the comment section on the Kickstarter where you can
thank you.
Where you can go do that. So this was our latest drink and draw with Rich Perotta. It's always fun to have Rich. We did talk about characters. One last female character
It's fun to be on your show, man.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Right? And I love it. I was going to say one last thing about one last honorable female character mention as Doris. Yeah, women protecting kids are always badasses, but one woman that was a badass in the 90s also was Trinity from The Matrix, which is also very good actress, Carrie-Anne Moss.
Yes, Carrie-Anne Moss. She's fantastic.
So yeah, strong characters make for great stories, and the Incantesi is a strong story, and I'm looking forward to working on it. All right, folks, I get one more makeup interview tomorrow with Kate Blanchett. It's going to be pretty fun. No, wait, I'm saying her name wrong. I know I'm saying her name wrong. I have a cool guest. I have a cool guest. Catherine Blanch. I think it's Catherine Blanchett. I can't remember. The name is eluding me right now. 3 p.m. tomorrow on Sunday. It's gonna be. I don't usually do pilot streams, and then next week I got a pretty cool lineup again. On Vu's show joins Monday. It's my third drink and draw in 4 days. More pirate stuff. I promise. Probably be invading on space first.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. You gotta do fun themes, right? And I thought, hey. Who's against drawing pirates? I think
I love it. You're like, haha, more pirate stuff. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
That me laughing was trust me, Josh, it was really truly out of joy because you're
I know.
More pirate stuff, and I'm like, yes.
I know.
Love it. I love it, man. I can't wait to be on your show again.
We got to figure out how to put a pirate and Incantesi string thing in there because that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun.
If I decide to go like the multiverse of madness type of thing in the Incantesi universe, we're gonna have pirate Incantesi.
That's right.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
You see?
I don't know. I'm reaching a little bit there.
He's sniffing the Kool-Aid a little bit. I'll make him drink it. Don't worry.
Oh, anyways, yeah, thanks. I could definitely use a little bit of Kool-Aid at this point. Josh, thank you for having me again.
No worries, man. And for everybody else watching, listening, hit the follow button on my Twitch. I'm almost at 100 followers on Twitch already, which is kind of cool.
Nicely done.
YouTube channels Joshua Pantellarusco. Alice Zero's nominated for an Elgin Award. Definitely check out the book. If you want to hire me, you can hire me. I will write stuff. I will podcast stuff, and I will edit stuff. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. I will see you guys tomorrow.
See you later.